Morning, everyone, and to my fellow Snyder fans. I'd like to talk about Supergirl and Batgirl. Therefore, Sasha Calle and Leslie Grace, including including their Supergirl's counterpart in the comics, and why we also need a live-action Superman movie with Supergirl in it, and not just one with Brainiac and Silver Bench in it as well. Yeah, we may have seen the three live-action shows with Superman and Supergirl teaming up against bad guys, and Linda Carter's, I mean, no, Helen Slater's Supergirl movie in 1984 may have included a scene with Supergirl and Superman standing side by side. But that, well, just wasn't enough to satisfy fans. Mainly because, one, much like Superman 3, Warner Brothers did not bother to look into the comics and bother to even include Black Star, who was a potential arch foe to Supergirl in the Silver Age comics before the Crisis on Infinite Earths event. As of right now, I still bought this figure of Sasha Calle's Supergirl because I still find some interest in her version of the character and how she could still play out if we restore the Snyderverse. Yeah, I know, some of you don't approve because of, well, she's not 100% exactly like Kara Zor-El, but let's look. But besides the skin tone, if they can at least get her to look blonde and her suit to look more like the comic accurate version, and maybe in the same format as Henry Cavill's Superman suit, it might not be her. Her race may not be that big a deal. Yeah, I know she's a Latina, but I don't find that being as irritating and provocative as making characters black, some characters African American black stuff. But anyway, I've also got these two comics right here. Silver Bench and Supergirl having ripped clothing from each other's costumes like they got some kind of grudge match going on. And that caught my attention when I saw the announcement of Italia Ricci's casting as Silver Banshee in 2015. And from what I've seen in this comic right here, and this one, I've seen actual character development, morals, and excellent point of views. And after getting these, I bought other comics featuring Silver Banshee that go back to 1987. And I got the epic, iconic Superman Brainiac comic storyline that fans love to see one day happen as a live-action adaptation, and not having Hollywood continuously deny that from us. Because really, corporate interference through shares and stakes is precisely one of the core reasons to why Warner Brothers has failed to deliver on excellent DC films nowadays. And so far, the only character they managed to do right was Batman, and with respect was Batman. Yeah, mainly thanks to Christopher Nolan. Also, as for Batgirl, I may not have an action figure of her, but I did hear that Sasha was looking forward to working with Leslie Grace and perhaps Margot Robbie in a Batgirl Supergirl team-up live-action series, which may not appeal to many, but it would have been fun. And there was, of course, a Batgirl movie with Leslie Grace as the Cape Crusader going up against Firefly, which was also going to feature Michael Keaton's Batman in it. Shame it never got to see release because of Zaslav stepping in to cause so many provocative cutbacks and tax write-offs. Sure, it may be a victory to some, but to others it's a real disappointment, and even more so, especially when we know that Zaslav is not as 100% anti-woke as they say, especially when he did not bother to cancel this Superman movie where Kal-El would be black, fighting with the civil rights movement, which I find kind of hazardous to do. Because really, even if it's an Elseworlds film, it would certainly not bode well for most folks. And I wouldn't be too surprised if the villain of that movie would indeed be Lex Luthor, as always, because they're always too lazy and arrogant to bother giving others like Metallo a chance, or even Livewire, who could have a possible role of fitting in if they had creative minds and were not so strict with their gatekeeper policies. Anyway, some people may have felt excited about Cavill returning, but when Zaslav put Gunn in charge to strip us, to once again do what the WB's been doing since the 80s, not give us a live-action adaptation of Superman fighting Brainiac, and instead giving us another remake of 1978 with a few inclusions with Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, Metamorpho, and Mr. Terrific, as well as this vigilant group called the Authority, which people never even heard of. And I don't think that Authority is going to be even enough. Because really, how can these studio executives be so arrogant and reckless to not give other characters like Silver Banshee or even Brainiac a chance in a live-action movie? I mean, God, that is very frustrating, and it's also a reason why if we do restore the Snyderverse, we should give Sasha Calle, maybe Leslie Grace, another chance as the Girl of Steel and as Batgirl. And that is only, whether it's with the DI and ESG or not, it's only because we've been screwed by the same people that screwed Sasha and Leslie. And believe me, you need to show some honor, among others, if you want to reach a specific goal and overcome any obstacles along the way. Believe me, there's going to be a lot of obstacles to jump through in the next couple of years or so before we can even succeed in getting Zack's DCEU restored and successfully overcome all the roadblocks that would stand in our way and get Man of Steel 2 featuring Supergirl and Superman teaming up for the very first time in a live-action film against Brainiac, Silver Banshee, and other villains that the studio has long denied us since the 80s. And that's an impasse that we need to focus on breaking through first before we can continue more with Darkseid and the rest of the Justice League saga. After all, the bill comes due. And we'll also need to look into getting Ben Affleck's Batman vs. Deathstroke movie revived, along with Wonder Woman 3, Black Adam 2, Black Adam versus Superman, and have the proposed Green Lantern Corps film and undeveloped Flash sequel feature focus on Jessica Cruz, his origin, and with Barry taking on Eobard Thawne. Some of you may not agree with me, but we gotta but aside from sacrifices that need to be made along the way, as well as coming prepared with how we can overcome these obstacles that Warner Brothers, the elites, and our own government would have in store, we have to make compromises with others if we are to have a strong, successful movement in reaching our goal, and making sure we do not vandalize or tarnish our favorite characters being tarnished or vandalized with woke identity politics in any shape or form, because that's got to be put to a stop. Creativity needs to go back into the hands of those who would develop and make these films, and AI is not to be used as a gatekeeper, an obstructive gatekeeper. It is to be used as a tool to help, and to make sure it is not used against the creatives. We need to get rid of BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street stakes in the movie and streaming services, and make sure we have shareholders who are not just individual, but also those who are willing to get things done the right way, and let some real progress be made in the live action cinemas, even if there has to be some arrangements and requirements that have to be met. We just got to make sure we plan it well, and that either Netflix or possibly a more reformed WB studio or any studio that is not woke has enough money, enough proper writers, directors, creatives, and cast members, and enough capital and investments of a budget and an excellent movie strategy going forward to get this done. And I would love to see this happen in 2033, which would mark us the 50th anniversary of Superman 3 and Cavill, and the year Cavill turns 50 if he makes it through. Because either way, whether with or without Henry Cavill, or with or without a proper comic accurate version of Superman, we must break this impasse that people refer to as the Superman curse, and finally make a live action Superman versus Brainiac movie with Supergirl and others like Silver Banshee in it a reality. Thank you, and be sure to subscribe to me if you haven't, and be sure to share my videos with others here on YouTube. They're going to want to see they're going to want to see this if we are to do more to come prepared with helping Snyder get his vision back up and running.